Perfect. Thank you very much, Ray. So hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good day to all of you, wherever you're joining us from. It's a real pleasure to be with you today in this especially meaningful event as we celebrate the 60th anniversary of the International Academy for Quality. 6 decades of advancing quality thinking, leadership, and impact across the world. I'm Nancy Nouaimeh, an associate academician member of IAQ, a consultant and a quality leader with over 25 years of global experience working in Europe, the Gulf region, and Africa. Over these past decades, quality has evolved significantly, from a focus on tools and compliance to systems, and increasingly to culture and leadership behaviors. Across industries and regions, organizations are investing more than ever in quality. Yet the question remains, what truly drives sustainable success? It's leadership intent, system design, culture, or the ability to adapt in a world that's becoming more complex, digital, and unpredictable. And perhaps more importantly, as the world evolves, what must now change in how we lead quality? Before we turn to our panelists, I would like to briefly ground our discussion in the work and mission of IAQ with this couple of slides we have here. So this year we're celebrating the 60 years of IAQ, founded between 1966 and 1971 as a global quality body. It was initiated by leaders from ASQ, EOQ, and JUICE, with Val Wegenbaum, Kaoru Ishikawa, and Walter Mason leading the formation of a truly international academy, and one of the biggest in the globe. Now, our mission is to advance quality through collaboration and influence. Our members, more than 150, they contribute collaboratively via IAQ think tanks, shaping global quality thinking and practice. And we have many of them here today on the call. So thank you very much for joining us. Now, let me start a little bit by introducing our panelists here today. We have the pleasure of welcoming 4 global leaders in quality who are distinguished members of the Academy and had the privilege to collaborate with through IAQ and ASQ. Raúl Molteni. He's a partner and CEO at Molteni Consulting in Argentina. He leads transformation projects and enhances the customer and employee experience for organizations across several Latin American countries. He's the president of IAQ. So, Raúl, thank you very much for your leadership, and served on the board of directors of the American Society for Quality. He was awarded the Kaoru Ishikawa Medal by the American Society for Quality in 2021 for his outstanding leadership in achieving a significant impact on the human aspects of quality. He's also a certified board director and a Six Sigma Black Belt, and he's a speaker in congresses and conferences. And he's the author of several books, Quality Business Strategy, Lean Six Sigma Leadership, and his latest book, Projects That Impact Quality Organizational Culture, has just won the Walter Mason International Book Award for Best Book for 2026. Welcome, Raúl.
Thank you.
We have Sunil Sinha. He's an internationally recognized leader in quality, business excellence, and organizational transformation with over 4 decades of leadership experience across the Tata Group and global institutions. He's the CEO of Tata Business Excellence Group, and he led the Tata Group as the CEO of the Tata Business Excellence Group. He led the Tata Group's business excellence journey for over a decade, driving the deployment of excellence frameworks across more than 100 Tata companies worldwide. He was responsible for advancing quality, innovation, sustainability, safety, and corporate governance across the group, helping embed a culture of continuous improvement and world-class performance. Sunil has worked closely with the Malcolm Baldrige community and is bringing a lot of his good insights here today, and served on the board of the foundation in the United States. He's a recipient of the Baldrige Foundation Award for Leadership Excellence and was recognized by the Business Week as one of the world's 25 Masters of Innovation. Welcome, Sunil. Marita Burgendal is a senior consultant and partner at Sandon Associates. Over the past 25 years, she has worked extensively with leadership development, change management, organizational development, operational excellence, and problem solving in a wide range of industries and organizational settings. She possesses extensive experience in leading transformational and continuous improvement initiatives. She works on change and development at the individual, team, and organizational levels. She has also experience in problem solving, process employee engagement across a wide range of organizations. She's an expert in IT strategy and IT management, and she also has expertise in governance of large-scale IT systems. Welcome, Marita. Last but not least, Stephen Hacker. We know each other now for so many years. He's an accomplished leader, author, and organizational transformation expert whose work focuses on helping organizations achieve breakthrough performance during times of accelerated change and growing complexity. As a senior leader at Procter& Gamble, he spearheaded efforts to strengthen quality within the product supply system. He later served as executive director of Malta University Quality and Productivity Center before founding Transformation Systems International, where he applied systems engineering and organizational psychology to help organizations, teams, and leaders achieve transformational change. He's also the author of 10 books and scores of articles and is joining us from the US. It's too early for you here, Stephen, so thank you very much for joining us. So let's dive into our panel discussions. As you've seen, we have great experiences here on the call and the session. I would like to start with Raúl. And my first question for you here today, Raúl. In environments with high uncertainty and constraints, what does effective quality leadership look like in practice? And what kind of quality leadership is successful in your opinion?
Thank you, Nancy. First of all, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Thank you all. It's really my pleasure to be part of this panel and to have you here with us. I think, Nancy, that we should begin with the context. And let's use VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity to do that. We will see increasingly significant changes in magnitude and speed. Those changes won't always be clear because they can be read in more than one way, leading to potential confusion. Confusion that will show our limited knowledge about the situation and about the future. Moreover, increasing the number of internal and external interconnected parts will make our context and problems more difficult to understand. Whether we talk about leading the quality function or quality in leadership, new skills are needed beyond planning, executing, and controlling. First, skills to understand VUCA, skills to cope with diversity and to understand multicultural and multi-generational contexts, skills to cope with uncertainty when lacking the knowledge to anticipate what will come, and skills to cope with complexity because interconnections will increase. Possibly the most difficult one, the skill of organizational judgment. What is judgment? A subjective opinion based on personal beliefs, knowledge, and experience. Some abilities are critical for this. The ability to understand interdependencies, variation, customer needs, and human behavior before evaluating. The ability to integrate technological fluency with human judgment. The ability to evaluate a situation objectively and form sensible opinions before deciding. The ability to distinguish what is ethically right from what is wrong. Something that seems obvious is that organizations must adapt. But this statement might not be enough. The real challenge is not simply that change is faster. The real challenge is that assumptions underlying our decisions, what we accept as true without question, proof, or concrete evidence, are expiring faster. So the question is not only how do we become more agile or more innovative? The deeper question is how do we remain trustworthy, coherent, and valuable while we keep changing? The organizations that will succeed are not those that change every new trend. They are those that build a stronger adaptive capacity. That means three things. First, they learn faster than their environment changes. Second, they align the whole organization. And third, they improve the quality of judgment. The future will not reward organizations that merely react quickly. It will reward organizations that can change without becoming fragmented, use technology without losing human judgment, and pursue performance without consuming their own future. The future will not punish organizations for failing to predict change. It will punish them because they kept making decisions based on assumptions that had already expired. So, how do we live with a quality mindset? Designing the systems with the capability to reliably create sustainable value in an uncertain context. This requires a quality leader to be technical, human, ethical, operational, and strategic simultaneously. But before diving into deeper analysis and more challenges, let's first review some more experiences. Nancy?
Thank you very much, Raúl. I like the fact that you're focusing a lot on sustainable value and judgment and the importance of the human being still in this new ecosystem where the digital is really becoming part of the day-to-day operations. So thank you for that. And now I'll move to Marita with my question. So Marita, earlier this year, the quality world has lost Dr. Leonard Sandholm, and you had the privilege of learning closely from him. What has marked you most from his approach to leadership, and how have you seen those principles play out in organizations today?
Yeah, thank you so much, Nancy, and thank you for being invited and being a part of these giants that I'm surrounded with here. It's a little bit nervous in that case. I had the privilege to learn to know Dr. Sandholm, and he was completely focused in leadership with quality. And quality, by meaning, is meeting needs and expectation of our customer in every interface, and be completely focused on that. And he was really annoyed a little bit by all the new management methods who are appearing all the time. When I'm having courses, we are talking about different kind of leadership, and in 5 minutes on the internet, I saw 25 different, and it's coming more and more all the time. But we have to be focused on one thing: create value to our customer. The customer in every interface, and of course the end customer, because if we don't have the needs, satisfy the needs of the customer, they will complain, and in the end they will disappear, and then we now have no organization. So we are really into the true north of what we're doing. I have been a manager and a leader in different kind of organization, and it's really hard to getting people having attention on creating value on the customer. And many, at least in Sweden, leadership educational is about leading the individuals, but I'm thinking in system levels, it's a level of the organization that really creates value to our customer. So we have to lead and manage the organization to create values to our customer, and that's why everyone has to be focused on this, doing the right thing in the right way. Quality is a way of leading and manage. If we are not focusing on quality, what are we doing then? Are we using the Hopsy Daisy method, or oops, there it is method? We have to be focused and always create value and improve and be creative to meet the new need of the customer in this changing world we have. So I think it's really important to get back to the basic and have a leadership who are really present, who are there looking on the processes, so our co-workers are really focusing on that. And of course, in the bottom, we have to create trust and these kind of things to and give the people the knowledge that they need to have to create this value. And I think it's important to have leadership and management who have the courage being there, present, and see what's happening in our processes. So we are improving all the time and have the discipline also doing that. And that is, of course, also to reduce waste, which is a way of working in sustainability at the same time. So, and as I started with, focus on creating a value to our customer, the true north. Yeah.
Thank you, Marita. And with Raúl, with the context that Raúl helped us set in the beginning, I see we continue here towards the customers, what you're saying, and focus on, again, creating value. And we need to create and sustain that value. And I like the fact that you've mentioned the courage. Now, we need different type of leadership and quality now and in organizations in general to be able to make things in a different way and be able to create that value in the new context. So thank you. Thank you for your answer. Sunil, I would like to move to you now, and from your experience at Tata, and you've been really crucial in that journey. What are the 2-3 leadership lessons that you have made that made quality sustainable at scale at Tata beyond tools and certifications? What really made that difference?
Thank you, Nancy, for first of all having me for this panel, and greetings to each and everyone from Dubai. You had asked a very pertinent question, and let me answer you through a life experience, real life experience. As you know, I spent more than 4 decades with Tata Group, which is one of the world's largest Indian conglomerate. They have business interests in various industry sectors like steel, automobile, power, hospitality, chemicals, defense, aerospace, infrastructure, financial services, etc., etc. Often it is called salt to software group. So, and collectively, this group, the top line is over 170 billion US dollars, and it employs over 1 million people across the world. And why I'm telling you all this, just to get a context of the situation in which Tata's talked about business excellence. And as you mentioned, I had the privilege of leading Tata's business excellence program for over a decade. And from my journey, I did learn a few lessons, and here I would like to share 3 of that with you. You know, the first lesson that I learned was quality becomes sustainable only and only when leadership transforms it from a function to a culture. Now, to illustrate this, you know, in early 1990s, the Indian economy opened up to global competition, and Mr. Ratan Tata, who was the head of Tata Group, quickly recognized that Tata companies would soon be competing with some of the best organizations in the world. And he believed that the future success of any organization, including Tata, will not depend on size. It will depend on excellence. So he adopted the Malcolm Baldrige framework and adapted it into what is called Tata Business Excellence Model. But he also understood something very important, that a framework alone does not transform an organization and creates a culture of excellence. In my mind, the framework is like a musical score. Still, someone has to play the orchestra, and that orchestra has to play in the organization to create excellence. So that brings me to the second lesson. And my second lesson, which I learned from my experience, was leaders create ecosystem that allows excellence to flourish. So it's a whole lot of things. It's like a grand orchestra. And Mr. Tata never treated quality as a department. He always treated quality, like Marita said, quality as a way of managing business, a way of managing stakeholders. And for that, he created a Tata Business Excellence Group, which is the center of excellence in the Tata Group. Every Tata company created a new role called Corporate Quality Head. Annual business excellence assessment were introduced and institutionalized based on the Malcolm Baldrige framework. Just like Malcolm Baldrige Award, a JRE Quality Value Award was established. Very interestingly, leadership development was linked to excellence and your involvement in the excellence. So if you are not involved, forget about your future development in the group. Even the right to use Tata brand by different companies became linked to business excellence performance. So each of these initiatives that I talked about, they served like an instrument in the orchestra. The framework, quality tools, assessment, the award, the expert system, group system, leadership development, a brand governance. So individually, none of them were enough, but collectively, they created a symphony called organizational excellence. And so that was very, very important. And another thing that was happening along with that was Tata were acquiring companies globally in Asia, Europe, Africa, North Africa, Middle East, Canada, different cultures, different histories, different management styles. But what Mr. Tata understood was that financial ownership alone does not create one organization. And you need a common language. You need common aspiration. And business excellence program became that common language for each of the 100 Tata companies. So one of my responsibility was to deploy this business excellence program in all the 100 companies world over, where culture was different, markets were different. But the principles of excellence traveled remarkably well everywhere, seamlessly, because customers everywhere wanted value. Marita, you were absolutely right. Go to any corner of the world, customer wants value. Employee everywhere wanted purpose. And therefore, leadership mattered everywhere. And without leadership, the business excellence will become an elusive dream. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Sunil. I think for those who are listening to us here today, so the panel, I mean, we have Raúl from Argentina, Stephen from US, Sunil, he's based in Dubai, and he worked in India, and Marita, she's from Sweden. And if you see, the language is really the language of alignment, the language of culture, the language of creating value to the customers through everyone in the organization. And I like the example you gave about orchestra, Sunil. We need to create that synergy, that symphony, to be able to deliver the best value to the client, to the customer and the client. So Stephen, now to you, my question to you, from your work on transformation leadership, what role does leadership really play in making quality transformation succeed through the people? And where do most leaders get it wrong?
I appreciate the question and I appreciate being with the panel. It's a great day here. I think that maybe I would sit back and think about and listening to other panelists too, which I'm in full agreement with. They're brilliant. But I would take a look at maybe dissecting the role the professional and quality and how it plays out. So, since quality is much about management, not totally, but managing systems, managing quality. We think about ISO, standardization, some continue and improve initiatives. That's a big part of most organizations, is replicating what we have. Somehow you got in the business, somehow it's working, somehow you're creating the value for the customer at least at a level that it's now up and running. So how do you sustain that? And a lot of it comes from managing the process. And those are a clear set of tools and approaches that differ from then leading an effort. And leading an effort then takes influencing, some would say. I think it's more inspiring other individuals to create something anew, to extend a vision, or even employ a new vision. So when Sunil is worked with Tata, it was those 100 companies were being managed. And his role in Tata, brilliant work, was to put them together and lead them towards a common culture, a common understanding of quality, and that took a different skill set than just managing the financials, say, of those companies. And last, we have this issue of transformative change, and that really is a break of the past, to do something that's radically different, and that's because of the dual pressures of continual change and increased complexity, which are well documented, that with coming up 200 years of the first industrial revolution, things are speeding up and things are becoming more complex, and therefore our approaches are also shifting. That transformation now becomes the remaking of something that was old. So let me step back again and say, let's look at it in the role of the horse. So I may have a horse, and I love my horse, and I want to manage my horse. And so I manage the diet, I manage the feeding process, the grooming process, and maybe I get 2 or 3 horses because I'm such a great manager. So now I'm a stable manager, and I get to manage 3, 4, 5, 10 horses. And I know the process of doing it. I'm doing it very well, thank you. But then the question becomes, how are we going to actually have improved horses, race horses, something different than we've had in the past? And that may mean that I have to employ new techniques, new people in racing horses, and new understanding of racing and in the world scene, not only local scene. So the people I will lead and the processes I will lead will take me from simply healthy, good horses to healthy, good horses that can race very fast. All that is wonderful. That's most of quality, and we do it well. Thank you very much. But what about transformation? I don't get to the automobile by having a better horse. I can never get to the automobile through the horse. Even though we talk about horsepower, we talk about the car carriage, we talk about all that horse language with cars, I can't make that leap to the automobile by simply working on the horse. That's transformational leadership. Now, I say this because what's happening is that that's being required more and more and more. You can't stay with the old product, service, whatever. There's some characteristics that remain, and certainly the issue of driving value is eternal, as Marita said, but the products and the services have to shift, and sometimes shift drastically. This is where the problem is. If a lot of my organization, 80 to 90% of the organization focused on maintaining and improving what is, how do I get an Elon Musk type of juice in the system that says we have to change the whole structure, the whole approach, and actually do it with new tools and techniques, and keep quality number one in doing that. So when we look at leadership now, leadership is there's a lot of things that come along with that, including actually a separation within the organization of people that are speaking of a vision, a bold vision, something that is hard to relate to in today's world. It's not present. You can't see it as clearly today, but you can cast a vision with an organization that is rooted in analytical, administrative, very important task. and it almost draws the organization apart some. And so the need for great leadership to inspire others to cast a vision or come along on that vision while maintaining the current products and services is very difficult.
Thank you,
Big
Stephen. I
job.
think yeah, absolutely. And in addition to courage, definitely we need leaders who can influence others. I think Sunil said it, aspirational, common language. We need leaders who can bring people along this journey of transformation because organizations cannot stay where they are. I think there's a big work that there needs to happen, and quality should remain at the center of it. So thank you very much to the four of you. So we finished the first part of this panel. For those on the call, just to know that we're moving to the second part where we're going to have some questions, more conversations among the panelists. And we will have also a part at the end where we'll take your questions. So please don't hesitate to put your questions. My colleague Ray will be helping us on taking your questions at the end. So let's move on to the second part. What's next for quality? Where do we go from here? Now, my question to all of you, which leadership habit that worked in the past will no longer work in the next decade for quality leaders? What needs really to change now? I don't know who would like to start, but the floor is yours.
I can give it a try if you want.
Please.
So this is a very valid question, and we have been discussing this thing in IAQ also. How should quality change? How should leadership change in future to ensure that quality remains on the top of the agenda? And if I look ahead 5 to 10 years, I believe quality leadership also need to make a few shifts. And the first shift is I'll talk about is from organizational excellence that we used to talk about to ecosystem excellence. Because in the past, most value was created inside the organization through suppliers, partners, etc., etc. Now, it is created outside the organization. If you take automobile industry, perhaps 60 to 70% value is delivered to the customer, which comes through the supply chain. And that's where Toyota first time talked about group-wide quality control, GWQC. And so the question will no longer be how good is my organization. The question will be how good is the entire ecosystem that creates value for the customer. Now, that is a huge task because my organization is under my control, but ecosystem, I still have to influence and get the best quality products and system. The second shift, which has already happened and which will become more and more predominant in future, is that quality. There will be a shift from quality and excellence to quality, excellence, and sustainability. Because for decades, quality has focused on effectiveness and efficiency, and those remain very, very important. But society today is asking bigger question. And the question is, can we create value in a way that is sustainable, in a way that meets the aspirations and requirements of future generations? And I believe sustainability not remain cannot remain a separate agenda. It has to become central to quality and integral to quality. And in the future, I think the organizational excellence will not be devoid of sustainability excellence. So that's I'm tempted to say the third shift also because of the current situation, what's happening in the world, that the shift will take place from efficiency to resilience and adaptability. Raúl also said we live in the world of VUCA, We live in the world of disruption, and nobody knows more than we sitting here in Middle East what is disruption in the last few months. So geopolitical disruption, cyber threat, climate-related events, AI-driven disruptions. The question is no longer whether disruption will happen or not. X will throw missile or not. That's not the question. The question is, how quickly can we adapt and recover? And the winners will not be the organization that will avoid disruption, very difficult, but the winners will be those who learn faster and adapt faster to recover faster from their competitors. So if I have to summarize quickly, I think quality leaders helped organization to make efficient in the past, but tomorrow they must help organizations to become sustainable, resilient, and adaptive. Thank you.
Thank you,
I'll
Sunil.
build off of that. I'll build off of that in the sense of I agree with Sunil on the organizational level, but we move to the team and individual level, the same applies. So for the team standpoint, the leader of the past might go off to the mountain and have a vision and come back and dictate that to the obedient masses, and they would move in that direction, often asking for corrective action as they move off the mark. Much different, of course, now is that we're looking at the best of teams. Dr. Marvin Washington and I went out and we surveyed teams about a decade ago, from Google to InFocus and big organizations, small said, what's happening in teaming? Well, teaming was the inspiration of the leader. It then is matched by the inspiration of the followers, so that we're not just working with zombies. You're actually working with real live people that have a spirit. And if you're able to help to develop that spirit, you have a totally different type of team than a authoritative command and control team. You have a leader that is helping to lead inspired individuals. Take it a step further. We also have seen organizations learn how to inspire customers to be part of the extended team. Boy, isn't that powerful that your customers are actually, they identify with your brand. And when we say brand, they identify with the quality that you have been providing, the innovativeness you've been providing, and they want to associate themselves even as customers, not as paid employees, but as customers with your organization. Having said that it always begins with the individual, though. Individual, team, organization. And on the individual, it's understanding the transformational potential we have within each other. So the issue of lead self first, transform self first, before working to transform or lead others becomes an imperative.
Thank you, Stephen. I think you're absolutely right. The work has to happen on all fronts. Otherwise, we'll see disconnected parts. So that's absolutely, I think, great thing to start really focusing on. Anybody else would like to add anything before I move to the other question?
I would like a threat, or what quality leader has to do is to take away the short-sightedness of results every month, every week. We have to look further on, as you said, the wholeness. You have to understand everything, and we have to understand that our result measures comes from our process measures. We have to lead from them, as Stephen said, on individual level and a group level to the organizational level. But the thing is, many top leaders, at least in the West, are always focused on result, and that's imperfect. That is something had done. How can you steer when something has happened already? You have to be focused on the process measures, and that's where the quality knowledge and thinking quality, lead and managed by quality is coming in. And that is also giving a meaning to the people, because it's such a drainage when they are talking just about figures that are imperfect. Let's create value here and now, and at the same time we reduce the waste. We work with sustainability. So the short-sightedness, that's one of our biggest challenges at least in the West, I think.
Certainly. Thank you very much, Marita. Raúl?
The first thing I would like to say is I'm enjoying so much this panel, and so that I'm not sure if I'm thinking of what to say or about what they already said. But Stephen was talking about the individual level. Learn faster, I think you said, Sunil, which leads me to the first. I'm not sure if it's a skill or an ability that a quality leader should have, and it is to learn that when he decides something, when he analyzes, he's using assumptions. This means he's using his previous context, his previous knowledge, his previous experience to somehow evaluate that. And he's using what he learned. And the main thing here is that I think that future quality leaders, never mind if they are leading a function of the organization or a conglomerate, as Sunil said, they should somehow challenge their assumptions, because those assumptions are based on something that passed and not on the future. So I think that here is, at the individual level, something great. We need to know that our assumptions are not certainty, are not something true. It's what we think based on what we lived. And this is true at our organizational level too, because the culture of the organization it reminds things. The culture reacts to some inputs in the same way. So the first thing I would say is quality leaders should know that we need new assumptions. We need to challenge those assumptions to face the future, because the future is changing. So what we lived might not be good enough. Now, the second thing here is that I think that in the future, organizations should change before the context, not just react. Those assumptions, new assumptions, should be, I know that this is what I think. I know that this is what I don't know. So these are the risks I'm taking with the decision. So if I don't know what's coming and I'm taking risks, I think that they should somehow change before the context, go further than the context. That would be what the leaders will be doing. And here is something that I think somehow the three mentioned, Marita, Stephen, and Sunil, is that we are facing one of those assumptions that is, we need to maintain the business, mainly because the results, as Marita said, the results are short-term results. So, but when we need to change, we need to know that simultaneously the organization needs to change, but also maintain what they are doing. And these are two different set of skills needed for one thing and for the other. But mainly, the organizations have measures, policies, profiles, capabilities to maintain the business, not to create transformation, as Stephen said. So how does that quality leader think about transform while maintaining the business? How do we change the rewarding everyone gets? Because the rewarding is now based on short-term results. How do we change that? How do we change the mindsets, not only from CEOs? How do we change the mindset of directors, the board of directors? How do we change the mindset of CEO of owners, how do we change the mindset of investors? So when Sunil says ecosystem, that's right. It's not about the organization. It's not about the individual, the organization. It's about the ecosystem, because the ecosystem is creating a culture that don't allow us to transform in a real way, to transform deeply, transform the organization, and not just having projects that seems to be innovative and allow us to improve.
I think, Raúl, you hit it on the head. I think that's the heart of it. And I would characterize that I would characterize that as a quality leader must focus on optimization of the current systems. So that, and the measures there are for the control and the process measures of optimization, very important. But when that becomes a all and consuming and there's no creativity, so you need the optimization with this set of tools, skills, methodologies, and approaches. And then you need one of transformative, radical change, step function change. But the creative aspect of casting a vision, you need a different set of methods, tools, approaches, and metrics. And so I'm right with you. That's the hard thing for leadership today. Because of the rapid change, a leader truly needs to appreciate and cultivate both within self, within the team, within the organization. And to be frank, a lot of people cannot do that. Once you get so deep, and one last study out of the University of Chicago showed that the best managers, the best operationalizing people, the best managers often make poor leaders. Well, how can that be if you're the best manager? Well, because that push towards the optimization of the current systems then consumes, and the issue of creating and forecasting a vision, a radical vision, seems to be left out. So sometimes your best B manager or A minus manager might make a better leader if they have the characteristics of creativity and vision casting.
What you are saying, Stephen, sorry, Nancy, what you are saying, Stephen, makes me think that we have a new ability that a quality leader should have, and it's courage.
Courage.
Because if you don't have courage,
yes.
then it's very tough, difficult to think that this can happen, right?
You need to take tough decisions, right?
May I share a moment that I will carry on with all my life? That was in September last year in Japan, Tokyo, when Christian Levin got the World Quality Leader Award. Then it was some customer of ours who started asking questions and said, who is responsible for quality in Scania and the whole Traton, because Christian Levin is the top manager of Traton and Scania. And what is the quality manager doing? And then Christian said, I am responsible for the quality in the whole Traton group. The quality manager are providing knowledge and methods and things like that. And all leaders has to lead by quality, and all individuals has to work with quality in their daily work. But I am responsible for quality, because otherwise I can't be responsible for the results. And that is something who made impression on me, actually, because at least in the West, there are no top managers say that they are responsible for quality, because quality might be quality insurance somewhere down below. That's quality.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's very important. So thank you, Marita. Just for the sake of time, I'm just going to take a couple of questions, maybe with quick answers. So we have Carrie Bass asking about, does the panel think that the velocity of change is increasing? And if so, how does leadership adapt to provide contemporary operational excellence? I think we touched on this in the discussion. Does anyone would like maybe to summarize quickly couple of sentences?
Not in question. is not in question. So that the empirical data shows an exponential rate of change across all sectors. Speed in terms of people moving across the globe, communications, data, the understanding, knowledge, all metrics, you'll find that it's no longer arithmetic increase, step by step increase. It's exponential, and our ability to consume, to understand, and even know is humbling. A lot of the changes that we call forth have already occurred. We don't even know about it because the world with 8.5 billion people is moving so quickly that our ability to consume it and understand it is now lagging. That's part of the promise of AI, isn't it? That suddenly I might be able to call up my dream and find that someone's already implemented it halfway around the world.
Thank you, Stephen. The next question, I think it's very broad. It's about the power and energy industry and how can it be can it transform into world-class organization? This is from Aisha. Any quick thoughts? Or maybe we can connect with Aisha offline.
Yeah, we should connect Aisha on offline, but I can only say that there is no industry. There is no industry sector which cannot be improved by using quality, thought process, tools, techniques, mindset. Power is the one of the easiest which can be. We can talk offline, and there are a number of power organizations which have done phenomenally well. When I had embarked on quality journey, we had read about Florida Power and Light, the first Deming Prize winner in US. So power company have led by example in adopting quality and excellence way back in early 90s.
Thank you, Sunil. And I have a question from Devraj. Devraj, thank you very much for your question. He's asking about organizational excellence demands patience and discipline, while the emerging workforce seeks immediacy and visible impact. How can leaders bridge this paradox? How can we engage the young workforce in the organizational excellence journey? We're talking about generational differences also here, because their needs are slightly different. How can leaders bridge the paradox between immediacy and visible impact and patience and discipline that our profession requires to make an impact?
So, Devraj, I think whether it is new generation or old generation, all of us, when we wake up in the morning, we want to do excellent work. When we go to our office, we want to put in our best. And therefore, we want to serve our customers. We want to lead our people. So these requirements, regardless of generation, age, remains the same. The leadership needs to communicate the expectations very well. You will have examples where, while there are many organizations which are hit by quarter to quarter syndrome, still there are some who in the same quarter to quarter syndrome are able to create long-term value. So it is again the role of leadership. How do they set expectations about the future of the organization, about where do we want to go, vision of the organization, and lead people towards that? I think the younger generation, they are very skilled today. They are very educated, and they are the people who will be leading in current situation also and in future also. I have no doubt about it.
Thank you very much.
Nancy, may I add something?
Of course.
Sure.
I agree, Sunil. Those are future leaders, right? So somehow it's going to happen. But when we talk about quality, variation is something bad. We don't want variation. Variation bothers us. But as Vuka said, and Suni mentioned it, diversity. This is diversity. This is one of the skills we need to acquire. We need to manage diversity. We need to lead. We need to do somehow with that. And here's a key issue. We've always talked about listening the customer, listening employees, and deliver practices that are to that are aiming to have their experience in a good, to have them with good experience. So this means that we don't, mainly human resources people shouldn't implement practices because they are fads. We need to listen and to deliver practices to aim what they are looking for. And that's diversity. That's some of the skills we need to learn. And the other thing here is this is change. This is what we are talking about. So when we talk about change, the constraints we have when we talk about change is those constraints should be input for design, not just problem. So when we have these kind of things, these problems, what it means is this is what we need to design for. It's not a problem. We should change the culture. We should design the architecture of the organization. The architecture of decisions should be designed to work with these kind of problems once again. So the question itself means this is what we need to lead for. This is what one of the skills we need to acquire. How do we see these problems as an input for our design, the system we should design?
Exactly. Thank you very much, Raúl. And we come to the end of the session. I will take the last question because this is something that we had discussed also when we were preparing, and it is from Omer. He's asking, what do you see as the most critical leadership capabilities needed over the next 5 to 10 years to sustain organizational excellence globally? What can leaders do differently now to sustain quality in the future? If you can just quickly maybe make the round of the panel. Would like to start? In your opinion?
I want to go with one. Sunil, do you want?
No, as I said earlier, that very important to understand the geopolitics, because geopolitics is driving a lot of things which are happening in the organization. The global supply chain is getting affected because of geopolitics. And therefore, the leadership has to be resilient, create a resilient system, resilient supply chain, and an organization which is very high in adaptability. So that is one thing. I would also like to say that, not that leadership has to completely change in next 5 to 10 years. I think leadership will still be managing the whole system, which succeeds in which is necessary for changing the world. Leadership will still be driving the vision. It's just that we need to take the current situations into, for example, digitization, AI, geopolitics, supply chain disruption. These things have to be taken into account while designing for new quality blueprint.
Thank you, Sunil.
I would just say there's tremendous opportunity given the forces of increasing complexity and of accelerated change. Tremendous opportunity for transformational leaders to step forward. Never in the history of man has there been this much. And so it's going to be, as Raúl said, courage to step forward. And at the same time, as we've talked, understand about how to maintain, how to optimize, as well as create. So great time for leaders, great time for quality leaders to get clear. And leadership, Marita mentioned it earlier about the new fads of leadership. Yeah, you can pick up in the airport a new book on leadership every other day. And having said that, there's a striving to find out the key characteristics that are eternal in the area of leadership. There may be different ways of that manifesting itself, but there are lasting characteristics of key leadership. And I would just encourage our audience to go out and explore that for yourself and get on with it. Great opportunity.
Great. Thanks, Stephen. Raúl, Marita?
Well, everyone has said so much good thing. And things are going fast now. So I just want to also remind, don't forget about the facts we have in our organization before doing things also. Because the new generation of people, they are always new things. They have no patience. But sometimes please go out there, go to Gemba, get the facts, so you don't just do things faster and faster and faster because the surrounding is faster. So we want lead our organization that way, because we have to be focused on creating value, and also don't forget the fact we have around us. Okay.
A good foundation. Thank you, Marita. Raúl?
I was thinking about what was being said, but the context is putting us a sense of urgency. We are okay. Change will not stop. We are okay with that. But still, we are talking about people. And people don't change in the way I change a computer from one desk to another. We need time to do that. And most of the leaders we are talking about were trained, they grew, they learned in different contexts. So I think that the organizations need a very intelligent plan to make the transformation. It's not just repeating what other people say. They need to plan this because we are talking about people that were asked to do things that we are now saying that's wrong. We are asking them to do things that they were not trained for, they were not selected for. So I think that we need courage, and somehow we need patience, and we also need some human skills to manage, because we are talking about people. We are not talking about machines.
Thank you, Raúl. Thank you, everyone. This was really wonderful, amazing discussion, very rich insights. Thank you very much to all the people who joined us. Thanks to our team, Ray, Catherine, and everyone, and to all the panelists, Raúl, Stephen, Sunil, and Medita. Thank you again for being with us here today. And I would leave you with this just thought: lead with courage. And I think rewarding aspirations is very important. Think about transforming, because we need things to be done in a different way, I think, in the future. Keeping what we know about leadership, keeping the focus on foundations, on the basics, but looking at what needs to be done differently to make a change. Thank you again, and we hope to see you in future panels. And for those who would like to connect with IAQ, you can find us. We have a website, we have social media platforms, so please connect with us. Thanks again, and bye-bye.
Thank you all.